Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. So I'm going to show you the second part 2 of the video that you had first started watching with Bob Proctor on the law of vibration. If you have not seen part 1, I'm going to put the link right above me here or here, wherever it's at, to part 1 so you can watch it and get yourself educated on that. And you can watch the second part of this video. I'm not going to come on at the end, so if you like the video, please click like, share it, subscribe to my channel, and get as many of your friends and family to watch the video because we're here to help them. That's our main goal, that's our main effort. So in this video, you're going to be described, what the law of vibration is, primary law to the law of attraction. So the law of attraction is a secondary law. But it is the law of vibration that causes the law of attraction to jump into action. So I want you guys to enjoy the video, write it down, take notes, leave me a comment below. I always like comments. I'll respond to them. I read them all. And you guys have a fantastic one. And here's Bob.
I want to know how it changed. And since that's what I wanted to know, that's what I started to find out. And that's where I learned the power of repetition. I was sitting with a lady, Catherine Weishaupt. She's from Germany. She is in Germany. And I was sort of like a review meeting with her. She was a consultant with her company. And I was sitting with Gina, my assistant, and Catherine said, I believe success is 5% strategy and is 95% mindset. I had never heard that before. And I looked at her. I just intuitively knew she was right. I knew she was right. I would go back to when I was on the street in England, I don't even know if I knew what strategizing meant. I didn't feel bad not knowing. I mean, why would I know? I hadn't gone to school. I'd never been in business. Success is 5% strategy, 95% mindset. You see, it's all about the mind. It's about your marvelous mind. Now, before tomorrow, I'm going to show you different concepts. I'm going to explain them so that if you had a 15-year-old, the 15-year-old would understand it, believe me. I pride myself in explaining things in a very simple manner. I don't want to complicate it. The people that taught it to me did that. They kept it very simple. It's about your marvelous mind. As Van der Waal taught me, he says it's all in awareness, Bob. He said there's a marvelous inner world that exists within us. And the revelation of such a world enables us to do, to attain, to achieve anything we desire within the bounds or limits of nature. Now listen, this is vitally important information. I have never really studied finance. I'm not a financial guy. I've earned millions, literally millions of dollars. I think it's the easiest thing in the world to do. But I don't know how to manage money. I really don't. And I had my own company. But if we go back to what Einstein said, if we get the picture and we get into the energy of the good we desire, you can't help it, have it manifest. Around 15 years ago, we had a lady come to the seminar who was a securities attorney. Oh, we've got a little friend here. And Sandy Gallagher was a securities attorney, very successful one. She became fascinated with what we were teaching. One thing led to another. I'm going down the road pretty fast here. And Sandy Gallagher became my business partner. Sandy is really a financial genius. She really is. She was buying and selling banks, turning banks public. Here's Bob, knew nothing about finance. And I attracted the perfect business partner for me. And I could just go ahead and do what I love doing. And I knew that our company was in good hands with that. And Sandy runs our company. She is the CEO, the president of the company. Now, why am I mentioning this? You've got to become aware that you can and will attract whatever you require to cause whatever picture you're holding in your mind to move into form. It's not an accident. There is a marvelous inner world that exists within us. And the revelation of such a world enables us to do, to attain, to achieve anything we desire within the bounds or limits of nature. Now, that law or that truth was taught to me by this man. He taught me so many things. God, I miss him. Val and I became great friends. We did a lot of work together. I think of Val, he was a big guy. I've always been not that big. I think I was about 135 pounds when I started to work with him. We'd be out in the road and we both liked buying clothes. We'd go into a clothes store. He said, "You got any men's clothes in here?" He was always ribbing me. He said, "You know, this guy has to run around in the shower to get wet." I think what he was doing was making excuses for him being as big as he was. But sure, a great guy. Now, he's the one that woke me up and he introduced me to this drawing. And he said, "Bob, I want you to let that represent you." And he said, the big circle represents your mind. The top half of it is your conscious mind. And the bottom half is your subconscious mind. Now, you've been reading a lot about this, but I would suspect that you're very confused when you read a lot of this stuff. I think one of the best books on the subconscious mind is Dr. Joseph Murphy's book, The Power of the Subconscious Mind. It's a phenomenal book. If you don't have it, your library is not complete. And at any rate, he taught me this drawing, and he said, when you think of yourself, you got to have an image. You got to understand the mind is everything in your life. You got to learn how to work with it. Now he said, let's look at it this way. There's the mind, and there's a positive sign and a negative sign. Now he said that actually represents a law of polarity, the law of opposites. And he said here, a power flowing into your consciousness. And when it flows into your consciousness, you create thoughts. You literally create thoughts from a power that flows into your conscious mind. You can originate thoughts. You can think something that no one has ever thought before. You have a unique ability to do this. It's the thoughts that you think in your conscious mind that you impress upon your subconscious mind that causes you to feel the way you feel. Feeling is conscious awareness of vibration. Those feelings are expressed with and through your physical body. That causes the action which produces a result. Now, getting them all lined up is called attitude. Now, some people line up on the negative side. They're going to see what's wrong. And you know something? They're right. There's something wrong. Other people go on the positive side. They see what's good. And they're right. There's something good. You can find what's right or wrong in anything. Doesn't matter what you're looking at. If you want to find what's wrong with my presentation, just keep looking. Take a pen and pencil because you're going to get busy. Or if you want to look at what's right, look at that. There's a power flowing into our consciousness, and we have the ability to think anything we want to think. And it's the thoughts we think that causes the feelings because we get emotionally involved with them. That causes the body to move into action and produce results. Now, this drawing is without question so valuable and so misunderstood. And he went on to explain more about the conscious mind. He says, that's your thinking mind, Bob. Problem with most people is they don't think. They really don't think. Mental activity never constitutes thinking. I remember when he said that, and I never forgot it. He said, that is your thinking mind. It's also referred to as the educational mind. This is you I'm talking about. Now, as I keep building this idea, you're really going to get to know yourself, the world you live in, and the laws that govern your being a lot better. Yet, as you understand yourself a lot better, you're going to find your finances are going to improve, your health is going to improve, your relationships are going to improve, your whole world starts to get better. The educated mind is also referred to sometimes as the intellectual mind. That's where all the intellectual factors are. Remember I told you what they were? You had perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. There's 6 of them. They are our mental muscles. And as you start to understand how to develop them, you can become a very powerful person. If you've ever been in a seminar I've been in, you know that I can walk up to a person, I can tell them all about themselves. Everything that goes on the inside shows on the outside. It's your intuitive factor that enables you to read that. We hide nothing. And I always do this in a seminar to show off a little bit. I want really get your attention, see what I can do. But then what I really want to do is say, if I can do it, you can do it. See, we watch other people do things and we become fascinated if they're doing it really well. What we want to understand, if we want to do it, we can do what they're doing. The subconscious mind is your emotional mind. When you're emotionally upset, you've got the wrong ideas being fed into that part of your mind. Now, over here on this side, because you can think, you have the ability to choose. And because you can choose, you can accept or reject everything that comes down the road. Everything. Because there's a lot of crazy information coming at us through TV, newspapers, radio, television. Just overhearing restaurants, conversations, if you can get into a restaurant. You can accept or reject everything, and then you have the ability you can originate. Now, the subconscious mind doesn't have the ability to do all those things. All those magnificent abilities are in the conscious mind. The subconscious, it must accept whatever you give to it. Must. It has no ability to reject. And get this, it's what you impress upon your subconscious mind that ultimately turns into results in our life. This is where we want to get our imagination going in high gear. Your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what you've imagined and what's real. It has no ability to differentiate between the two. Unfortunately, most people imagine what's wrong. They think of what they don't want rather than what they do want. Now look here for a moment. Let's take that knowledge and we'll say, this is you, today. There's information coming at you today, and it is terrible information. And it's flowing into your conscious mind. Now you have the ability to think, you have the ability to reject that. You can say, get out of here. And they all go away. But you know something? Most people don't do that. You want to know what they do? This is what they do. They're not thinking at all. Their subconscious mind is wide open. And that information goes right into the subconscious mind. Remember what we said about the subconscious? It has no ability to reject all that negative information. Why do we leave the mind open like that? It's our paradigm. It's how we're programmed. We're literally programmed to live that way. Who did this? Why did they do this? Well, let's take a look. Just close the window on that for a minute. Let's go over here. This is you as an infant. Now, the more you understand this, the more you're going to be able to put tomorrow's lesson to work. Because I'm going to get in and I'm going to show you how you attract whatever you're in harmonious vibration with. This is you as an infant. Your subconscious mind was wide open when you arrived on the scene. I don't care what language was spoken around you, that's the language you learned. If there was more than one language spoken around you, you would learn more than one language. You see everything that was going on around you. All the love, the hate, the prejudice, it was all programmed right into your subconscious mind. It's like in the song, a person has to be taught to love and hate. They must be taught before they're 6 or 8, before it's too late. You see, a child's mind is wide open. The child is being programmed. First of all, they were programmed genetically. That's why the child looks like they look. That's genetic conditioning. You see, It's a little bit of energy from mom and a little bit of energy from dad that formed the nucleus of you. And when those energies came together, that was the start of you. And then 280 days later, you made your debut on the planet. But over that 280 days, there was a lot of programming going on. There's genetic program, and now there's an environmental program. And the paradigm, here we are, years later. People, they've learned all kinds of information, but they're not doing it. The paradigm is in control. You see, the paradigm is, it's something most people don't understand. It's something everyone should understand. Every one of us has gathered an abundance of knowledge covering numerous subjects. However, most of what we've learned has very little, if anything, to do with our paradigm. Therefore, we frequently don't do what we already know how to do. I maintain that everyone that can hear my voice already knows how to at least double your income. Now, you may be thinking, oh, that's not true. Oh, yeah. Listen, trust me. I've been there. I've done that. I've worked with thousands of people. I know how it works. We have superior knowledge, inferior results. That causes confusion and frustration. Now let's put our model up here and take a look. Here's a person here. They've got all this knowledge in their mind. They go to school. They get a ton of knowledge. But you know something? The knowledge doesn't match the results. Why is it that a person with a great formal education, worked in a good company for maybe 30 years, is struggling to meet a mortgage payment? Explain that to me. How does that work? They've gone right through our educational system. We're very dedicated to employees for maybe 30 or 40 years, and they're having difficulty making a mortgage payment. Doesn't make sense, does it? Well, all they know isn't working for them because the paradigm is in control of them. Their results are nothing but an expression of the paradigm. That's all that conditioning that took place before they could even think. If you want to change your results, it's essential that you change the paradigm. That's absolutely essential. So, as we get into the law of attraction tomorrow and show you how it's just an extension of the law of vibration, I would recommend you study it pretty closely. Because you see, you do have a paradigm. Oh, I do. Everyone has. A paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And think of this. Almost all of our behavior is habitual. Something to really understand. Now let's take a look at this. You can create your own economy. You can create the life you really want. Nothing tricky about it. Energy functions on frequencies. Remember we said that? A frequency is a level of vibration. There's an infinite number of vibrations, of levels of vibrations, of frequencies. An infinite number. Let's take a look again at what Albert Einstein said. So beautiful. Study this very carefully. Everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This isn't a philosophy. It's physics. Look at, when I sat down and wrote out that we would have, our company would operate all over the world, then I went to work. I had the idea. Mikey phones me. Now that was in 1973. It was just a couple of weeks ago she phoned. She's in every country in the world. Here's the trick. Decide what kind of a life you actually want. Quit fooling around with your life. It's too short. Then say no to anything that isn't that. Decide what kind of a life you actually want. Then say no to everything that isn't that. Now look here. Wants are where it starts. You know where wants come from? I'm going to tell you. Look at me. You have, at the center of your being, your spiritual DNA is perfect. There's perfection within us. Now that perfection has so much junk on top of it that we call a paradigm, that it has difficulty expressing itself. That spiritual perfection within us is always seeking expression with and through us. That's why we always want more. Now, when I was a little kid, my grandmother said, "You always want more. You should be satisfied with what you've got." Grandma was an angel of God, but she was wrong. You should never be satisfied. Dissatisfaction is a creative state. It's dissatisfaction that causes you to reach, to stretch. What do you really want? What do you really want? That comes from the essence of who you are. Now that's not to get. Getting is nice too. That gives you greater physical comfort. You can have all the good you desire. I was talking to a friend of mine earlier this morning. He said something just about blew my mind. I loved it. I wrote it down. He was saying it's his girlfriend's birthday this week. I know his girlfriend didn't have a week's birthday. But he said, we're celebrating it all week. We're having a birthday lifestyle. He said, we've already got a birthday lifestyle. And I love that. That's what you want. You want to have a birthday lifestyle. Everyday celebration. What do you want? The want is not to get. That's a side benefit. The want is to grow. It's for you to bring more of you to the surface. You're God's highest form of creation. The wants turn into desire. Desire comes from the Latin desire, to give birth to the children, to give birth to the idea. The want creates the desire. The more you feed the desire, the stronger it becomes. Desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within, seeking expression without through your action. The desire is what moves into form. Now, that's where you're going. That's what you want to do. It's all vibration. It all has to do with energy. And we're going to talk more about how you attract it tomorrow. Now, I don't know what you're doing 10 o'clock Eastern time tomorrow, but I'd be here about 5 to 10. I always have a pad handy to write notes on, always. I'm going to explain the law of attraction tomorrow. I've been studying it since the 60s. I understand it very well. I get everything I want in my life. You say, oh yeah, that isn't true. Oh yeah, no, it is true. And I can show you how to get everything you want. Now that doesn't mean it's going to manifest for you overnight. But if you'll follow the laws and do as I'm suggesting, you'll get everything you want. You are God's highest form of creation. We want to study this.